Welcome back to a brand new spoiler review of the brand new episode of The Last of Us. This is the third episode of 9 to hit HBO Max. We're going to break down this episode in spoiler fashion. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show every week. So please subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. Is this your favorite, least favorite episode? If you played the games, did you not like the episode due to its very heavily deviation from the video game, or did you just enjoy and really relate to the I guess the episode itself? And if you have not seen the game, not played the games, are you happy with the direction that the show is going into now? All your thoughts, spoiler wise, in the comment section down below. I respond to every comment, so please comment down below. Like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So as I said, I don't on these spoiler reviews, I do not spoil what happens in the future for this franchise. I've played both video games. I've seen the cutscenes a billion times, so I know everything that happens within the story. So I'm not going to spoil those things for people, but I am going to talk about some of the video game. Obviously, I won't be talking tons about the video game, as this very much deviates from the video game. So let's start breaking down episode 3, called Long, Long Time, directed by Peter Hoare, who's directing his first episode of the season. And so we start off this episode with Joel and Ellie following, obviously, Tess's death. They're going out. They go to this convenience store where Joel hid some of his guns and supplies. This is where Ellie runs into an infected who's basically crumbled and can't move, and she kind of slices the thing open to see that's all fungi, not a human, and then kills it. Now, people are making it seem like Ellie is this dark character for doing this. I think, again, they're trying to make the point of killing an actual human being and killing an infected who's just taken over by the fungi. And she keeps talking about how it's been, it's hard to sometimes to think about the human being. That's why I think she killed him, is because she actually saw that he's just fungi. There's no blood. There's no human being in there anymore, and that's why she did it. That's what I believe, but we'll see if that's what I guess everyone else believes. I know that got a lot of heat on social media, let's just say, which I'm not a fan of that. So I thought it was actually well done. So Joel and Ellie have this great conversation. They see this broken down plane, and it's just a great back and forth scene between Joel and Ellie, where Ellie's just like, I mean, to be in the sky is crazy enough, and how Joel's like, oh yeah, everyone did this all the time, and how Ellie just doesn't see that as a reality, as she shouldn't, in this world. But Ellie kind of keeps wondering why they're going to this particular place. And obviously, we cut back, and this is where we get the backstory to Bill and Frank, played by Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett. So if in the video game, Joel obviously knows Bill, but he's never been to his house when Joel and Ellie go there. And Joel and Ellie get trapped, and Joel and Ellie go on their own unique chapter in the game. Now in the game, there is a suicide, I guess, a letter from Frank, who we learned was Bill's partner, but it's about the whole note is Frank's ultimate hatred of Bill. So that's all we got from this relationship. And instead of going down that path like they did in the game, this is a whole backstory on the relationship between Bill and Frank. And I found it to be a really special episode. I think this is going to be probably the best. I know we're in January of 2023, but this is going to be really tough to be as my favorite episode of the entire year in TV. This is a very special episode of TV that, yes, it does have our main characters in it, but this romantic relationship, this just relationship between these two very different people, I think sets up a lot of things for Joel and Ellie moving forward, as basically a father-daughter relationship, but this is obviously more of a romantic relationship. So they meet each other. Bill's a survivalist. He gets this whole area to himself. He hides himself out, and he hates the world. He hates the government. He hates the world. And this is kind of actually a dream scenario for Bill. So Bill has all these Home Depot things, has all these traps, makes himself dinner, has wine every night. Like, he's living the high life in the apocalypse, basically, and post-outbreak. And this is where he runs into Frank. Frank gets into one of his traps. They make, he's trying to travel somewhere, Bill makes him dinner and all these things very reluctantly. Honestly, Bill's very much he just only thinks about himself. And Frank tries to sing the song after the dinner. Bill then plays the song and obviously sings it beautifully. And then this is where Frank kind of like, who is the girl? Who is the girl? Because obviously that it meant something to Bill. And Bill says that it wasn't a girl, and Frank says, I know, and they kiss, and that begins their relationship. So we kind of go through this whole relationship with Bill and Frank, which I believe is I think they started, I think in 2007 is when they said they started. I could be totally wrong, could be 2003. If let's say it is 2003, it gets a near 15, 20-year relationship between Bill and Frank. That goes through a lot of tribulation because they really are polar opposites. Bill is this very secluded off, just cares about himself, doesn't want to make any friends. And this is where I think in 2007, Frank is kind of like, I talked to this person on the radio. And this is where we get the great scene between a meal on Bill's home with Bill, Frank, Joel, and Tess. And Frank wants to make friends. Like, there's other people out there, and the whole world isn't filled with bad people. And Bill brings his gun to the table, is pointing it at Joel the whole time. And this is where Joel and Bill have this conversation after Frank takes Tess somewhere. Great scene between Joel and Bill. So well acted. Obviously, we'll talk about the acting towards the end of the episode. But Nick Offerman and Pedro Pascal bring it in this scene where Joel's talking to him about all the things that they can offer, and that we're good people. Not everyone out there is bad people. And he's basically talking about all these gates. He's like, your gate just isn't going to hold up. There's going to be a group of hoarders that are going to come, and they're going to be armed. Bill kind of says, I don't need help. And obviously Frank is the one who creates the idea for the radio being 60s, 70s, and 80s with Tess. And we kind of end that scene with Bill kind of telling Joel, I don't really care. No, thank you, basically. So we keep going throughout life. There's a whole fight scene between those hoarders. So obviously, Bill set up all these traps, and with probably the help of Joel, Bill gets shot. Frank helps him out. And then we get all the way to the present time in 2023. And now they're very old. The de-aging, not the de-aging, but the aging of these two characters, they did a great job with. And I just want to say these performances are very special and very award-nominated worthy performances. Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, who are probably only going to be in this episode, are breathtaking in this episode. The performances are great. They're very authentic. And it all comes down to their chemistry working. And you just feel their relationship. You just care about it deeply. And you get to this 2023, and this is where the show comes really heartbreaking, sad, hopeful as well. So we get this scene where obviously Frank has cancer. He's in a wheelchair. He can't paint. He's basically on his last limb here. And he wakes up and he has this whole really heartbreaking scene with Bill where he's like, this is my last day. And this is my last day. I've made my mind. You can't change it. This is my last day. And Bill just starts really crying. And it's so sad and heartbreaking. And Frank's like, how much do you really love me? And Bill said, yes, you're gonna love me the way I want you to love me for this last day. So he makes this whole last day for him. It's like, we're gonna go to the boutique, we're gonna paint, we're gonna wear suits, you're gonna make me dinner, and then all these pills I've been having, you're gonna crush all of them up, put them in my drink, and I'm gonna die in your arms. And just really heartbreaking. But again, he gets to live out his last day. So they do all of these things. They do they eat, they drink. And this is where Frank's like, has the pills been in the whole bottle? And Bill's like, enough to kill a horse. So basically Bill basically says, you're my purpose. If you're not here, I have no purpose. So they're both gonna die. And it's just such a heartbreaking, but again, such a hopeful relationship that even in the darkest of times, this guy who was a survivalist, only about me person, found a purpose in protecting someone, for caring for someone, and loving someone. It's such a special part of the show because the show is very bleak. We're in basically an apocalypse type situation. Most of the population is dead. Everyone's in groups. People are getting infected. It's basically survival of the fittest. but you can still have these glimpses of hope and relationships, and it's supposed to really set up what Joel and Ellie will be, is that this relationship will also grow into some hopefulness in such a dark time. So then we come back to Joel and Ellie. So obviously in the game, Joel and Bill and Ellie do their own thing. Bill is not dead when they meet each other at that time. So Ellie never meets Bill in this show, but they obviously do in the game. But Joel and Ellie go in, they look, Ellie takes a gun, they shower. But obviously the big part is the letter that Bill writes. Obviously in the game, it was Frank's letter that Bill and Joel read in the game. But in this, it's Bill's letter. And obviously it says like probably to Joel, because the only person who can get through my traps is Joel. And that's when he kind of says, you gotta, I found someone to protect, and you have to keep Tess safe. And Ellie stops, obviously. And it's very heartbreaking because, again, Joel never put a label, I guess, on that relationship. They were romantic interests, romantically involved. But Joel did really care about Tess. And this idea of that relationship, I think, continues to build. But yet the whole scene, just like in the game, where Joel kind of tells Ellie the 3 rules of, you got to listen to everything I'm going to say. Can't really show off that affection to anyone. Can't tell anyone because they're just going to kill you on first sight. And you can't bring up Tess anymore. It's very much line for line from the game. They go into the car, they drive away. And the last shot is from Bill and Frank's room, which was locked. And they left the window open so the house didn't stale. But for me, this is one of the best episodes I've seen in a television show in a really long time. It's a fantastic episode of hopefulness. Seeing a LGBTQ, relationship done so well on the screen is really great news, I think, for mainstream worlds going forward. The fact of how well they did this Bill and Frank relationship. Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, even though they're really in one episode, these are award-worthy performances in this show. The writing is very good, and I know it deviates in the game. I'm someone who's very loyal to the game, but these are adaptations. These are not, we're not going to go line by line, shot for shot, remaking a video game. They have to deviate. And I found that this deviation, this actually enhanced the story. Understanding a relationship to then lead to our main 2 people makes so much sense. And in 1 hour and 15 minutes, they made you care about this relationship between Frank and Bill from this time they started time they met each other until they died at the end of this episode. So that is my thoughts. One of my favorite episodes of TV I've seen in a long time. I think this is one of the best shows in a long time. I'm all in on The Last of Us on HBO. So that's my thoughts on this episode. Please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. More videos are coming, including review of The Bad Batch on Wednesday, box office breakdown on Tuesday. Other movie reviews are also coming this week, including Knock at the Cabin and You People. So please stay tuned for those reviews. I'll be back next Monday breaking down episode 4 of The Last of Us. I'll see you guys then.